Less than 24 hours. That's how long it took for Manchester United to go from a frustrating draw at Leeds to sacking their manager. 14 months. That's how long Ruben Amorim lasted at Old Trafford before being shown the door on a Monday morning in January. And here's the thing that should terrify every United fan watching this. This wasn't just another sacking. This was something far more dangerous. This was proof that the same poison that's been killing Manchester United for over a decade is still flowing through the veins of this football club. And unless something changes fast, this sacking won't just ruin the next few months, it could ruin the next few years. I'm going to show you exactly why letting Ruben Amorim go is the biggest mistake Manchester United have made since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. And trust me, that's saying something. Sunday, January 5th, Ellen Road. Manchester United have just drawn 1-1 with Leeds. It's frustrating, sure, but it's not catastrophic. They're 6th in the table, still in touching distance of Champions League football, still recovering from that nightmare 15th place finish last season that saw Erik ten Hag get the boot. But then Ruben Amorim walks into the press conference, and he doesn't hold back. "I came here to be the manager of Manchester United, not to be the coach," he says. He's emphatic about it, repeating it, making sure everyone understands the distinction. Then he goes further. He tells the scouting department, tells sporting director Jason Wilcox to do their jobs so he can do his. Now on the surface, that sounds like a manager losing his cool, a guy cracking under pressure. But here's what the media won't tell you. Amorim wasn't having a meltdown, he was making a stand. And that stand cost him everything. By Monday morning, he was gone, sacked, dismissed, shown the door after a meeting with Wilcox and CEO Omar Barada. The official statement was corporate, polished, and meaningless. The club claimed they needed to give the team the best chance at the highest possible Premier League finish, but everyone knows what really happened. Tensions between Amorim and the hierarchy had been building for weeks, with the January transfer window becoming a major source of friction. Amorim wanted reinforcements. He wanted an experienced Premier League striker, someone who could lead the line while half his squad was either injured or away at the Africa Cup of Nations. But United's bosses had other ideas. They wanted patience. They wanted to wait until summer. They wanted Amorim to work with what he had. And when Amorim refused to just shut up and coach, when he demanded to actually manage the club, they pulled the trigger. The stats they'll throw at you sound damning. Only 24 wins in 63 games, a win rate of 38%, worst of any permanent United manager since the 70s. But stats don't tell you the full story. They never do. Here's the part that should make your blood run cold if you're a Manchester United fan. This exact same story has played out before, multiple times, with multiple managers. It's like the club is stuck in some kind of nightmare time loop. David Moyes, chosen one, gone in 10 months. Louis van Gaal, philosophy, 2 years, then sacked the day after winning the FA Cup. Jose Mourinho, the special one, fell out with the board over transfers, out in 2.5 years. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, club legend, given time until he wasn't. Ralf Rangnick, 6 months and he was calling the club a disaster. Erik ten Hag, won 2 trophies, still got the chop last November. And now Ruben Amorim, 14 months. See the pattern? Every single one of these managers came in with big reputations, clear philosophies, and genuine belief they could restore United to glory. And every single one of them crashed and burnt. But here's the question nobody wants to ask. Is it really the managers who are failing, or is it the club? Sources revealed that Amorim had an explosive meeting with Wilcox on Friday, where the discussion moved to his preferred formation and tactical approach. Amorim's response was deemed too emotional, too volatile. But hold on a second. This is a guy who won 2 league titles with Sporting Lisbon, who had Porto and Liverpool interested in him, who was being called the next big thing in European football. And United are telling him he's being too emotional because he wants to actually make decisions about his team? This is the problem. This has always been the problem. United don't want a manager. They want a yes man. They want someone who will implement the sporting director's vision, coach the players the board decides to sign, and smile for the cameras while the club continues its slow decline into mediocrity. Amorim refused to play that game, and that's why he's gone. But here's where it gets really scary. United sources insisted they were fully aligned with Amorim on transfers, but he clearly felt differently. Who's telling the truth? And if there's this much miscommunication, this much tension between the manager and the people running the club, how is anyone supposed to succeed? Before we continue, if you're getting value from this breakdown, hit that like button and subscribe. We're cutting through the noise to give you the real story behind the biggest football news. All right, let's talk about why this sacking could genuinely ruin United's future. Let me paint you a picture of where Manchester United are right now. They're 6th in the Premier League. Not great, but not disastrous. They're in the FA Cup. They made it to a Europa League final last season before losing to Tottenham. They spent nearly £250 million on players since Amorim arrived. Cunha, Mbeumo, Sesko, Dorgu. Young, talented players who need time to develop and gel together. And the board's solution? Sack the manager and start over. Again. Do you know what message this sends? To the players, to potential signings, to every top manager watching from the sidelines. It says Manchester United have learned absolutely nothing. They're still the same reactionary, panic mess they've been for 13 years. Amorim's insistence on his defensive system was seen as inflexibility by the board, with Director of Football Wilcox wanting more tactical adaptability. But here's the thing. Every top manager has a system. Pep Guardiola has his possession game. Jurgen Klopp had his gegenpressing. Mikel Arteta has his positional play. You don't hire a manager for their philosophy and then complain when they actually try to implement it. Amorim tried to adapt. He fielded a back four for the first time against Newcastle on Boxing Day, then reverted to his preferred back three for the Wolves match. But changing systems takes time. It takes patience. It takes the board actually backing their manager instead of undermining him. And let's talk about the transfer situation, because this is crucial. Just days before his sacking, Amorim revealed there were no conversations happening about January signings. His squad was decimated by injuries and international duty. Bruno Fernandes, Mason Mount, Kabi Mainu, Matthias de Ligt, Harry Maguire all out. Mbeumo, Ahmad, Mazraoui at the Africa Cup of Nations. He was managing with half a team. Reports suggest Amorim wanted Ollie Watkins as his striker instead of Benjamin Sesko, who has managed only 2 goals in 17 appearances. He missed out on Antoine Semenyo because of wage structure issues. The club told him to be patient, to wait until summer, to work with what he had, and when he dared to complain publicly, they fired him. Think about what this means going forward. Who in their right mind would want to manage Manchester United now? You're walking into a situation where the hierarchy clearly doesn't trust the manager, where you'll be expected to perform miracles with whoever they decide to sign, where one bad run of form could see you out the door regardless of context. Reports say United have identified Crystal Palace's Oliver Glasner as a top candidate to replace Amorim. Glasner's a good coach, but guess what system he uses at Palace? A back three. The exact same formation they just fired Amorim for being too committed to. You genuinely can't make this up. Here's what Manchester United don't seem to understand. Success takes time. Arsenal gave Arteta 3 years before they challenged for the title. Liverpool gave Klopp time to build. Manchester City gave Guardiola a full season where they didn't win anything before the dominance began. Even Tottenham, who are famously trigger-happy, gave Ange Postecoglou time to implement his system. But United? 14 months. That's all Amorim got. 14 months to try to fix a decade of institutional dysfunction. 14 months to integrate new players, change the playing style, and compete on multiple fronts with a squad that finished 15th last season. The board will tell you they didn't see enough progress, that results demanded change. But what progress were they expecting? He took them from 15th to 6th. He reached the European final. He was trying to implement a long-term vision with players who weren't bought for his system. And now, they're back to square one. Darren Fletcher takes over temporarily. They'll probably appoint an interim until summer. Then they'll do another big managerial search, make another big appointment, spend another couple $100 million, and in 18 months when that manager inevitably fails, they'll do it all over again. This is the cycle. This is the trap United keep falling into. And every time they reset, every time they panic and sack another manager, they fall further behind their rivals. City are building dynasties. Liverpool are consistent title challengers. Arsenal are getting stronger every year. And United are on their 8th permanent manager since Ferguson retired. The club is currently without a league title in 13 years since Ferguson's final season, and firing managers every 14 months isn't going to change that. The really depressing part, Sir Jim Ratcliffe said in October he wanted to give Amorim 3 years to prove himself. 3 months later, he's gone. If the minority owner can't even stick to his own timeline, what hope is there?
So why will sacking Ruben Amorim ruin Manchester United? Because it proves they've learned nothing. Because it shows they're still the same reactive, short-term thinking club they've been for over a decade. Because no top manager will look at the situation and think it's an attractive job. Because the players will know that no matter who's in charge, it won't last. Because the cycle of failure will continue. Amorim wasn't perfect, no manager is, but he deserved more than 14 months. He deserved the backing he was promised. He deserved a chance to actually build something instead of firefighting from day one. United had a choice, trust the process or hit the panic button. They chose panic, and that decision, that inability to break the cycle, is why this once great club will continue to struggle while their rivals dominate. If you found this breakdown valuable, make sure you're subscribed because United's managerial search is about to get very interesting, and we'll be covering every twist and turn. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.